Good morning, good morning, good morning, radio listeners. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. I'm your host, Phoenix Belfield, and it's a pretty good day out there. And first of all, let me say happy Emancipation Day to everyone. It's a great day. It's a great day to be emancipated. In fact, I got a quotation from a friend of mine who sent me the Emancipation Flyer, and it is a quote from Marcus Garvey, and it says, "A people without knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like trees without roots." And that's by Marcus Garvey. So happy Emancipation Day to all, and we're hoping that you have a fantastic day. Of course, remembering your roots. So today's program, we're going to be in the 15 minutes that we allocated. We're going to be focusing on credit unions. And like a people knowledgeable of their roots, we're going to be focusing on a couple of things that are important to the credit union movement. All right. So today we're going to be looking at the cooperative model. What is it about the cooperative model that makes us so special? We're going to look at the credit union difference. We'll touch a bit on that. And we're also going to be looking at the credit union's contribution to the national economy and the reason for credit union status. So we're going to educate you on all things credit union this morning, and I'm going to try to be a bit succinct. I'm going to try to keep it a bit crisp so that you can get the message of it. All right. So we're going to focus on credit union today. We're going to focus on the cooperative model. We're going to look at the credit union difference. We're going to look at how credit unions contribute to national development and the economy. And then lastly, we'll look at the credit union status. So don't you move that dial. This edition of the Cooperative Voice program is brought to you with a kind compliment of the Dominica Cooperative Societies League Limited in collaboration with Mlaja Mobile Financial Technology Limited and the Credit Unions of Dominica, bringing you a great financial solution. So don't you dare touch that dial. Don't you touch your phone. Don't you touch that connection. Stay with us. We'll be back very soon.
Let's talk about topping up via CU Online. Open your CU Online account and select Transfer. Select Send to any other member and enter the last name Mlajan, Mlajan. Account number 321027, ID 10. Enter your desired amount and leave your Mlajan associated phone number within the comments. Confirm the transfer. Confirm your email address for the security code and input the code received, then click Submit. It's that simple. Mlajan, a new way to pay.
All right, so we're back in again. Today's edition, we're going to be focusing on credit unions, all things credit union. Happy Emancipation Day to all. Giving a big shout out to my folks from the credit union movement, the staff, the volunteers, Giving you a big shout out also to our supporters who continue to support the credit union brand, continue to support your credit union in the thick and thin. We appreciate that support. So today, like I said earlier, we're going to be focusing on all things credit union. And so the first thing we want to touch on today is the credit union cooperative model. So what about the credit union cooperative model that is so special? Well, one of the things that we need to understand, and like the quotation from Marcus Garvey earlier, is that we must remember our roots and why is it that we came into being and what is it so special about the credit union. So one, membership owned. So we are owned, the members own the credit union, and the credit unions are controlled by the membership. Now, regardless of the amount of shares that you have in a credit union, you are only entitled to one vote. So that is it about the credit union in terms of membership ownership. One person, one vote, regardless of the amount of shares. Two, it's not for profit status. So, yes, that is why we don't even call it profit, we call it surplus. Because this surplus, remember, it's based on membership business and membership saving, and it's plowed back into the credit union to generate significant benefits to the membership. Thirdly, it's membership focused services. And so, since we are owned by the members, there are things that the credit unions do to ensure that the offerings of the credit union are customized and more member centric. Fourthly, financial cooperatives. We follow the cooperative model, which includes voluntary and open membership. It's democratic member control, member economic participation, the autonomy nature of the credit union, and education. So when you come to the credit union, you not only get a loan, but you get to benefit from the system of education. You get to benefit from the when you get into a loan, and your loans officer will give you options and they'll counsel you on what are the options available. And then we have voluntarism. Credit unions are governed by a board of volunteers. We also have the supervisory and compliance committee and the credit union. And these three committees come together to represent the interests of the members. And they, in turn, as a board of directors, set out the strategic direction of the credit union. And then, lastly, in this model is the financial inclusion. And you would have heard us talk a little bit in sometimes past about the branches. It's not because we want to brag about the branches, the amount of branches that we have in the credit union movement. It is because of our financially inclusive nature that we spread across the length and breadth of Dominica. In fact, up until recent, we had about 25 branches and sub branches. Then Grand Bay went and opened another branch. And then the West Coast just opened a branch in Pottersville. So if you haven't gone there, you can check them out in Pottersville. So we now have 27 branches and sub branches. So whereas you have other commercial financial institutions are closing down, the credit unions are opening out, and we are making financial services more accessible to the membership. And that is why we are so special, and the credit union movement is so special because we go where the members need us the most. All right. Now, the second thing I want to talk on is the credit union difference because we've had to deal with this subject matter time and time again. People are saying, well, your credit unions, you're becoming like banks, blah, 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 blah. And we're asking them, what is it? Is it because the buildings are more modern? What is it? And sometimes we have to even remind ourselves as to the credit union difference. So, a couple of things I want to bring to your attention. One, the ownership structure. Credit unions are member owned, and so each member has an equal ownership stake. So whether you have 20 shares or 100 shares in the credit union, you only are entitled to one vote, just like the person, the farmer that has one share in the credit union, or the teacher, or whomever. One share, regardless of the amount, one vote, regardless of the amount of shares you have. The banks, on the other hand, are owned by shareholders, and their ownership structure is proportionate to the number of shares held. So this is a very important reason for us to understand the credit union difference. One where it is one vote regardless of the shares, and one where your vote on your right is proportionate to the amount of shares that you hold. The second thing is our non-for-profit nature, whereas banks and other entities are for profit. Obviously, we have to make a surplus because we have to show good stewardship of the members' business. But this is now plowed back into the credit union to improve lives and livelihoods. The third thing is membership. Our membership restriction is based on a common bond. So, for example, in Dominica, you will find like community centered credit unions. In some other jurisdiction, you will find some having, like, for example, you have public workers. In some jurisdiction, you have utility companies credit union that are specific to these entities. And those are what you call closed bond credit union. Four, products and services. Whilst, and I think this is sometimes where people get it confused. You remember, we are offering financial services to our membership based on their needs. And these needs of the membership evolve over time. So, as an institution, we cannot be restrictive and tell the members, listen, you can only get agriculture loan for up to $2,000. If the member wants to have a mortgage, or they want to have an express loan, or they want to have a crash loan, and by the way, if you haven't heard about the crash loan from the from Granby. If you haven't heard about the Prash loan, you should check it out. The Prash loan is from Granby and it says promoting resilient and sustainable habits. So with that Prash loan, you can actually get solar heating loans for solar heating, window shutters, greenhouse, solar panels, equipment, saving equipment, water tank, retaining wall, concrete loans. And you can get up to $50,000 at a monthly interest of 0.58. So I'm just putting in a plug there for Granby. But you can get a Prash loan. Check it out. You can get a Prash loan from Granby. So call Granby and find out what's happening with the Prash loan. How can you start crashing? All right. So credit union, because we have a specific mandate to serve our membership, you will find some of the products that we offer coincide with what is offered by the mainstream commercial banks. And I think that is where the confusion comes with people say, oh, we're getting like the banks. No, no, no. Our mantra is solely focused on providing the service for our membership. All right. Regulations wise, well, profit allocation. Our surplus is returned to the members in terms of lower fees, better interest rates, improved service, and dividends. Banks distributed profit to shareholders in the forms of dividends. So there's a little difference. Although the shareholders are also the members who are also the clients of the credit union, the shareholders are the shareholders are the owners of the bank, who may or may not be clients of the bank. All right. So it's important to understand that distinction. And then penultimately, regulations. The credit unions are regulated by local regulatory bodies. In our case, we are regulated by the Financial Services Unit. The commercial bank, however, is regulated by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. So the commercial banks are regulated by the Central Bank of the OECS jurisdiction, and we are regulated by the FSU. In Grenada, it is Dolphin. In you have the FSRC, I think, in Antigua. So we have that difference between how we are regulated because of who we are. And I made a distinction in some time ago at a forum where we note the symbiotic relationship between us and the banks, and that is why we said we ought to be regulated differently, not because a vehicle drives on four wheels do we regulate it the same. Similarly to how trucks are regulated different from cars, minibuses are regulated different from cars. Not because we're all on four wheels mean that we're the same. And that is why we make that clear distinction between how the bank should be regulated and how the credit union should be regulated. We don't speak on behalf of the banks. We can only speak on behalf of the cooperative. Okay? So that relationship and that understanding as to the uniqueness of the cooperative movement should be understood and retained in the annals of our history. All right? And then last thing, size and reach. So generally the bank have extensive network. The good thing is that in Dominica has one of the highest credit union penetration in the world. And we have, I told you about the branches and sub-branches that we have. So we're in all, I think we said hook and cranny or nook and cranny. We're located where members need us the most. Now, the question you may be asking yourself, how does my credit union contribute to the economy? Because a lot of people talk about, oh, credit union are paying tax and tax and tax. Listen, let me share with you how credit union contribute to the economy of Dominica and the world outside of having to pay tax. So these are some of the reasons that the credit unions provide uh, contributions to the local economy in different ways. Well, financial services. The credit unions generally provide essential services such as savings account, loans, credit cards, debit cards to the members. And so we help them to manage their finance and contribute to economic growth. So we don't just give you a loan, we give you the means as to how we generate what we call this multiplicity in terms of the economy and how the engines of the economy grow. So when we give a small farmer a loan, and this farmer employs persons to assist him on the farm, these loans now begin to generate into a business project, which now generates employment, which now generates additional spending power. And this is important for us to understand. The next thing is community support. Credit unions are often serving specific communities. Like you can find, uh, if you go in Juradale, you'll find St. Mary's Credit Union doing a wonderful job there to the farmers there. If you go in Grand Bay, you'll find them there. If you go in Kalinaga territory in Casa Bruce, you'll see NCCU's branch up there. If you go in Vacage, you'll find them there. If you go in the village of Salisbury, you'll find West Coast there. You go into Portsmouth, you're going to find the Central Cooperative Credit Union there. If you go anywhere along the northeastern corridor, you'll find a branch of the Marigot Cooperative Credit Union there. And they're opening branches every year, all right, to serve you better. So, and that is not based on because it is economically feasible. We don't look at that. We look at, are our members better served? And how can we better serve our member? How can we locate in areas in which they need us the most? And that is why we are located and we spread across the length and breadth of Dominica. The other thing we want to look at is competition. Because credit unions provide a healthy competition for the sector, and we offer alternatives to traditional banks and other financial institutions, we encourage innovation and better services in the country. And I think you can look at the other sectors outside of the financial sector and understand why it is critically important for the credit union to thrive, because we provide, although we do business at the central bank, at the national bank, we are some of the biggest customers of the national bank. We work together, we complement each other, but we also compete. All right. And it is from that healthy competition that the banks offer the credit unions offer the banks, the financial institutions offer the sector. We can all innovate. And who does the benefit ultimately redound to? You, the membership, because you have better options, better services, superior interest rates, and you can now decide how best do you want to be served. All right. Lower fees and interest rate. We also allow to provide lower fees and interest rates. In fact, we serve superior savings interest rates than most financial institutions in Dominica. And that is why a lot of people, even when one of the commercial banks closed, they came to the credit union and they said, listen, I want to open a savings account. I want to put some money there because you have a better savings product. And that is why people come to the credit union. We also provide our help in the area of job creation. As credit unions grow and expand their services, we create job opportunities within our institution, and we also contribute to the general growth employment within the sector. Because again, when we provide loans, these loans go to small businesses. Small businesses employ people, increase spending power, and this is what helps to push the economy. You would have seen in the communication that in 2021 we give out more than 500. Our loans actually stood at more than 500 million in Dominica. All right. We also provide financial education, my folks. Credit unions, we give greater priority to financial literacy and education to our members. And I think that is why we are having members who are better informed consumers who can make sound financial decisions and not financial decisions on a spur of the moment. And this is what helps to impact overall the economy, or the return of the economy. And you can see what has happened. For example, after Hurricane Maria, people came into us. We give moratoriums, but we also counsel those members. We also counsel those members on how is it that they can better their businesses, how they can better their spending capacity, how they can better their overall lives and livelihood through their financial decisions that they are making. So it is important for us to understand how credit unions play a pivotal role in supporting local economies, promoting financial stability, and contributing to the broader national economy. So it's not just a group of institutions who are loaded with money. These are membership savings. These are members' deposits. And according to when Alicia came into Dominica and she wanted to start this moment, she said, listen, let's all come together and pool our resources. And from those resources, we lend to each other. And when you pay back, you get dividend, you get better interest rate. And that is how we have been building over the last 60 plus years. All right. So, very important for us to understand why this is important. And you would find generally the credit unions enjoy a tax exempt status. And we've had to discuss this from different membership, different forums as to why it's important for the credit unions to continue to enjoy this tax exempt status. Well, for one, the non for profit nature, because it reinforces the mission of the credit union to serve. It reinforces the mission of the credit union to serve the financial needs of our members rather than maximizing profits for our shareholders or owners. So for us, we do not have to focus on boy how we're going to maximize our profits. No, we can now focus with the additional resources we have, how we can improve the life and livelihoods of the members of the credit union. And this is very important for us to remember. The second thing, the consumer benefit. Having this status allow credit unions to offer competitive interest rates on loans, lower fees, higher interest rates on savings accounts, and it benefits consumer by providing access to more financial services. Think about it. If we had to focus on maximizing profits, we would not have had 27 branches and sub branches spread across the length and breadth of Dominica. We would be looking at where it is financially viable. So you'll find all of the credit unions would just simply come to Roseau or come to Portsmouth and will neglect the entire spread of the length and breadth of Dominica. But instead, we open in those communities in La Plain, those small communities in Woodford Hill, in Wesley. Well, Wesley is no longer small; they're getting big. We are located in those communities where the membership need us the most. So when you go into Salisbury, you can find a credit union there. When you go into Vegas, you can find a vibrant and well community supported credit union there. All right. Financial inclusion. This helps the credit unions. This helps the credit unions to focus on the underserved communities and the individuals who have limited access to mainstream financial services. So those who are located in those tucked away villages, you do not have to come to town. You can simply go to La Puette and you can use the credit union that is there. You can benefit. You can go to Grand Bay and you can benefit from your credit union. You can benefit from all of the loans that are there. And you do not need to come to Roseau to see a big institution. All right? So these are some of the things that you need to know because of our focus on financial inclusion and access helps us to serve the underserved and to keep our attention there. And then we speak about community development. We talk about how deep rooted the credit unions are in communities and how we contribute to local development initiatives. And this exempt status is what allows us to pour more resources in community related projects and promote economic growth and development. You know how, for example, the case of Athenas, the Grand Bay Credit Union has been supporting Mr. Athenas, and now he has made the West Indies team. Think about it, how far that little contribution went. You have the Dublin football team that is sponsored by Central and has been doing remarkably well. You have village credit unions in Grand Bay. You have the cricketers that are sponsored by the NCCU. So we focus on We take our corporate social responsibilities very, very seriously. And that is why, because of our focus on community development, we continue to direct a lot of resources in that department. Fifthly, healthy competition. How can we forget that? Because of that status, we can now offer alternatives to what is being offered by mainstream institutions, and we can fight to remain competitive. I remember we were asked during a consultation meeting with I think it was with the IMF, and we were asked, why is it that the credit unions continue to do well in Dominica? And we said, listen, it's not because we have plenty money or nothing. It is because we are where the members need us the most. We listen to our membership. We are providing the services that the credit union needs, that the credit union members need. And when you provide the focus, the products that your members need, and you meet them at their point of greatest need, that is where the members reward you by being faithful. That even after Hurricane Maria, or even after a disaster, natural or otherwise, or economic downturn, membership continue to they resolve in the credit union by placing deposits with the credit union. And this is why we are eternally grateful for the membership that continue to serve us. And it's because of the focus that we have on the membership. That is why the membership can it continue to put their efforts and their savings, and they even continue to volunteer. They bring their talents and unique abilities to the credit union movement. And that is why it is not because we have beautiful buildings, or because we have we one of our staff member is the Calypso King. No, it's not because of that. It is because we focus on our membership, and we cannot lose that. And then lastly, economic stability. We provide affordable and accessible financial services as part of our offerings to the member. And when we do that, because we do that, credit unions, we help to enhance the overall economic stability of communities, which can have a very positive impact in the broad economy. In fact, within our sector, we oftentimes we say to the we often say to our membership that the credit unions is one of the best kept secret, because we don't brag about what we do. Every member that we help or we have assisted, every institution or every school that have come for support to us, we don't really brag about it. You might see a little picture here and there and so forth, but it isn't our focus, because we maintain that we exist to serve the membership. And that is why credit unions continue to support NCCU, Central Cooperative Credit Union, Marigot, West Coast Cooperative Credit Union, Grand Bay, the St. Mary's Cooperative Credit Union, West Coast Cooperative Credit Union. That is why we have the support of the membership. And that is why Dominicans, home and abroad, continue to deposit their confidence in us. But it's important to also understand that there are certain criteria that we must maintain in order to retain that status, and there are a lot of limitations placed on the credit union movement. For example, how we are capitalized. We cannot just go and issue a bonus issue to get more shares. We have to come to the membership and ask you to buy more shares. We are limited in what we can invest in, what venture, what business is private or not. We are limited by what we can. So that is, I think, it's by design, because they want to keep the credit union community focused. They want to keep the credit union movement, and the architects of the Cooperative Act and the regulations back then foresaw this happening. And that is why they wanted to ensure that the credit union remains community focused and community centered. And that is why it is so important for us to never understand or never underappreciate the value of the credit union movement in our society, the jobs we create, the businesses we give loan to, our corporate social responsibility. Our credit union is sacrosanct. It is very important to the financial health of the economy in Dominica, in the OECS, in the credit union, and globally. And that is why it's so important for you to continue to support your credit union, continue to take loans at your credit union, continue to take loans, continue to to deposit that confidence. Continue to serve your credit union. Continue to buy shares in your credit union, because when you are strong and when you support your credit union is strong. And a strong credit union is a vibrant community. And a vibrant community is a healthy country. Having said that, I thank you for joining today's broadcast. I thank you for supporting your credit union. I thank you for your deposit of confidence in your credit unions in Dominica, and that you will continue to support what we do. If you don't have a credit union account, go at any one of your credit unions: National Cooperative Credit Union, Central Cooperative Credit Union, Marigot Cooperative Credit Union, Grand Bay Cooperative Credit Union, West Coast Cooperative Credit Union, St. Mary's Cooperative Credit Union. Join a credit union today and see the benefits that credit union membership can offer to you. Until then, thank you for joining the broadcast. Dominica World, good morning.
Let's talk about top.
Send me money. Receive money. Send me money. No more hassle. L'argent. Send me money. Send me money. Receive money. Receive money. L'argent. It's safe and secure. L'argent. You want to send your money to friends and family. No more standing in line. L'argent. It's a new digital financial service brought to you by the Dominica Credit Union Movement. Introduces a new wallet solution, L'argent. Top up friends, pay bills, make shopping easy, extra secure. Sign up is absolutely free. L'argent. You want to send your money to friends and family. No more standing in line. No more L'argent. Download the L'argent app today. See your credit union for more details. L'argent, your mobile payment solution. L'argent.